So, as you know, my name is Jay Bavisi. I promise you one thing, I'm going to try to keep these short because this is not the time to have long speeches and all of you fall asleep. So, I come from a company called AC Council. Some of you may have heard of AC Council. Some of you may be mistaken in thinking that we are the guys that created Certified Ethical Hacker. That's true. We are a certification body based in the US that creates Certified Ethical Hacker, but we do a lot more. I wanted to start by talking about your kingdom. Because when I came to Riyadh, this is my very first trip, two things amaze me about this kingdom. One is that 76% of your population is youth. Everywhere I turn, I see young people. You guys look so good, you know that? There's some countries that you go, you don't have such a youth population, and I think that's an amazing strength for Saudi Arabia. Second, what I love about this kingdom is that the rapid transformation that's happening. People that I meet around are telling me about the changes that this kingdom is taking, and I'm telling you, it's mind-boggling. What's happening right here reminds me of something else. And I'm going to talk about this in my presentation. My topic is about next-generation hacks. And the entire talk is about next-generation hacks and what can we do to thwart these hacks by creating the right people. And I'll share with you some lessons that we at AC Council has learned, real-life lessons. So let me start by talking about the size of the cybercrime industry. All of us are here. It's now almost 9 p.m. The team at the Saudi Federation of Cyber Programming and Drones have been working tirelessly for this event. Can we all give them a round of applause for a wonderful event? Right? Mutlab, Fazal, and the team, amazing. But you know what, guys? With all the work that we do, there's a cybercrime industry that's 6 trillion strong. So think about this. I started AC Council 20 years ago. We've trained more than 500,000 ethical hackers in 140 countries. I've devoted my life to this profession, and I'm not the only one. There are so many other cert bodies that have done amazing work. But in spite of all of this work, in spite of all of the vendors, in spite of all the technologies, biometrics, encryption, firewalls, the size of the cybercrime industry is 10 times the size of the revenue of 3 of the largest companies or 3 of the most amazing companies in the world. So you take Apple, you take Microsoft, you take Google, put them together, multiply 10 times. That's what we're up against. So it's amazing that you are actually moving at a very rapid pace in trying to combat this. Now, I told you that when I came to this kingdom, what I see here, the rapid transformation, reminds me of my own experience. When I started AC Council in 2001, the world was a very simple place. If you want someone to get impressed with you, just tell them, oh, I have a firewall. You guys remember the time? Well, you guys won't remember because you're all young, right? You're from this kingdom. But to those of you who are foreigners and old like me, you remember, you say checkpoint firewall, they go like, wow, high tech. 2001, right? Antivirus was the way of the day. Hacking, well, not really well known, normally associated with bad people. And what really happened was from that little topography, the entire surface expanded. The amount of users went up. The amount of applications went up. The amount of endpoints went up. And it didn't stop there. It actually started expanding and expanding and expanding. And because of that, the hackers said, oh, wow, this is a great industry. We can make a lot of money out of that. And they started all sorts of new attacks, trying to ensure that they can get some kind of financial reward out of this. The entire surface exploded. And just think about this, right? If you look at 2001, when I started what I did, at that time, desktop computing was the main thing. So for my father, for him, a computer meant mainframe. To me, a computer, when I grew up, meant a desktop computer. We were barely figuring out what we can do with desktop computing, and we stumbled upon networking. We started working on networking, and before we could move further, cloud came up. I said, oh, what a great idea. Let's start going into cloud. We tried to figure out cloud, mobility came up. Oh, wow, now we have mobile devices. We are still figuring out mobile security, and we are already talking about the next, IoT, Internet of Things. In fact, most of you would have some sort of a IoT device on you. We're figuring out IoT, and now the rapid change, blockchain, artificial intelligence. So the next generation attack, folks, what I'm talking about, is moving at such a rapid pace while humanity is barely grappling with the basics. And that's why we're in the position where we are today. And that's why it's a $6 trillion industry. It's a highly lucrative industry. And it doesn't help that organized criminals, terrorists, malicious criminals are trying their best in trying to make money out of this. So we, the security folks, if you're in this room, obviously you've got to do with security, right, have got a humongous work all cut out for us. So I would like to talk to you about the next generation attacks, because what I just told you was a little piece of history that you probably know about. So what are we going to be seeing as we move forward? Well, first of all, we all know times have changed. In fact, if anyone is qualified to talk about change, it's you guys, because look at the rapid changes happening in this country. But I want to start by talking about an uncle of mine. My dad had a younger brother, and he was born with a hearing disability. So when he was a kid, right, at that time, people didn't really realize that you got to install a hearing aid. But over time, when people figured out in my family that, wait a minute, get him a hearing aid, and by then he was already 18 or 19, it was very expensive, we got him a hearing aid. And that device changed his life from being disabled, hearing impaired, to being completely normal. But in the next generation, a simple device like a hearing aid is no longer safe, because most of the technology that you see today, and you're seeing an explosion in the size of this market. You're seeing large pharmaceuticals and large device companies, actually, medical device companies that are jumping in here, are building devices that are Bluetooth enabled. And that device is vulnerable. So remember what I told you, right? Desktop computing, network computing, cloud, mobility, IoT, blockchain, artificial intelligence. Now let's add on to the next generation, well, what about devices? Because if you can hack a device with someone that's hearing impaired, guess what? Normally in boardrooms is where you will find people that are actually using these devices. You'll be able to listen in. And if you think this is not common, if you think, Jay, come on, man, this is not normal, well, take a listen again, right? Because this is something that the National Security Agency has been very concerned about, even in the United States. So the next generation will have to think about these things. You cannot just think that when we talk of security, okay, we're just going to talk about our networks. We're going to talk about our organization. We're going to talk about a lot more. And let me tell you, my talk is talking about all of the unconventional stuff. Let's move on because we don't have much time. Anyone love this car? I love this car. I drove this car, and I'll tell you, you feel like you're flying. I think the next best thing to flying on the road is with the Tesla, right? Expensive, amazing piece of engineering. But guess what? The key fob that they had, that they built, right, was something that researchers could hack in under 2 seconds. And the whole concept behind this was actually quite simple. What Tesla did was they outsourced the development of the key fob to a company. And guess what? Companies are always focused on functionality, aesthetics. Security is rarely the first thing they think about, right? You would outsource stuff to a company, they won't come to you and say, all right, hang on a second, right? Before we go live, we're going to talk about security. We're going to lock this thing down. You're not going to be able to use it. That's not going to happen. They're going to talk about, yes, sir, not to worry. We'll have beautiful aesthetic. We'll have users that are going to use it. The beauty is going to be really nice. It's going to be seamless to be used. And then you say, security? Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We'll have some encryption. They use a 40-bit cipher to actually encrypt this. To security professionals in a room, you'll be laughing your head off and say, you're kidding me. And what happened? I'm going to fast forward because of time. 2 researchers used under $600, get a couple of antennas, and they decrypted this pin. They announced this to Tesla in 2017, August, and then they released a solution by having a pin almost a year later. So either you change the key by paying more money, and there was an official statement from Tesla where they said, well, you know what, we did have encryption technically, so it's not like, there's something wrong with it. Yeah, it was low, we get it. Pay me $500, we'll change your key. If not, we have an update, bring your car in, we'll update it, put in a PIN every time you use a key. So let's take a look at what else. Apart from the car, a lot of motorbikes are beginning to use keyless fobs because this is the future, right? The next generation, they don't have these large keys that they put into a car. Come on, that's old tech. I want to be able to carry it in my pocket, just walk in, and the door just opens. But then, if you're riding a bike, if you're in any kind of industry that's using this, you've got to be thinking about this. Okay, if you think that is not so bad, let's go one step further. Next generation. We've got to worry about smart cities. So a lot of cities, and this is huge because when you talk to town planners, a lot of town planners are implementing, whether you like it or not, smart cities is going to come, it's here to stay. And the concept behind smart cities is pretty easy, right? And you know what, it makes sense. If you take a look at a congested city, right? I was born and bred in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, a lot of traffic. And normally the emergency services, the ambulance, the cops, the fire brigade, when they want to get into a road, you hear this large and loud siren from far, right? And we used to be trained by the national television that when you see one of these guys, you drive to the side of the road and give them a right of way. In the future, that's not going to happen anymore because emergency services will have IoT-enabled devices which is going to provide signal to the traffic system to clear the path that you are trying to head to. And this is and welcome to the world of smart city. If you talk about trash, you talk about throwing trash. Well, normally I don't see any trash in your country, by the way. That's something beautiful where you guys are superbly clean. But a lot of cities that I go to, there's a lot of trash. And guess what? Somebody has to call the local council and say, hey guys, we have a lot of trash. Can you please get someone to clear this? Welcome to the world of smart city. Not going to happen anymore because the bins have got sensors. When it hits to a certain level, the sensor comes, and guess what? The local council comes in and clears the trash. Isn't that cool? Cool, right? Emergency services can just go on. Trash gets cleared. Air conditioning has got IoT devices. Parking, you drive a car. Instead of going 5 hours finding a parking lot, your map tells you go to lot number 72, right there. Welcome to the world of smart city. And there's so many other commercial users of smart city. Problem? Let me tell you the problem. Security is not the first thing in the mind of the designers. Remember Hawaii had the recent scare that they actually had a missile in the air, that they were going to be attacked. You guys remember that? Or you guys remember Dallas? They had a tornado warning. These were devices that were, Dallas was a device that was compromised. It was a smart city, that early warning system was compromised, and the entire city thought they're going to get a tornado. And it was compromised by a hacker. And the one in Hawaii was a malfunction. So think about the next generation. Think about this beautiful kingdom and the professionals that you're trying to build here. If the architects of this kingdom is going to be thinking that for next generation, I want to bring 1,000 pen testers that are going to be able to use any one of the solutions to do a network pen test, you got a problem. Because this is what they're going to be dealing with. They're going to be dealing with devices that are far out of the realm of what we think is common day. Okay? I'm going to move real fast. Let's talk about money, right? Blockchain exchanges. Anyone know this company? Zaf? Let me tell you a story, really sad story, right? So they had a $20 million deposit. So when you want to do a blockchain exchange, you got to put in money, right? Because the government will not license you to go create a blockchain exchange. So, they created a blockchain exchange. They put in $20 million. The Japanese company, they got compromised, okay? Because everyone says blockchain is secure. That's right. The technology could be secure because of, the underlying concept behind it. But the problem is, was it implemented securely? Did you set up the exchange with security in mind? And when you talk to a lot of exchanges, they will say that's a problem. So, long story short, $60 million went down the drain. They got compromised, and $60 million gone. Now, the problem with the blockchain exchange is the anonymity of the entire transaction, right? So sad. They got compromised last year. Yesterday, the founders gave up the company. Because remember, their $20 million deposit, they had to refund everyone their money back. They were short of 40. Another Japanese company bought them over by coughing up $40 million. They paid everything back. They now have a tiny little share. Game over. One compromise. Just one. So next generation blockchain is something you should think about. Cryptocurrency. Blockchain has a lot of uses beyond cryptocurrency, and you should understand that. But anyway, at a time when I have more time, we can go deeper. Warfare. Warfare is changing. Armed forces across the world, they're using IoT devices for obvious reasons. They have better logistical support, right? They have got better information. They are able to perform better. So there are a lot of cyber threats that are coming even to the military, right? And this is going to be part of the next generation's daily problem book. So we will have to build a solution to prepare the next generation. So what do? Just give up? Go to a mountain, do yoga, meditate? Because I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 20 years, and every morning as I wake up, I just hear more bad news. Right? It's pretty depressing, being a security professional. You don't get the good news. Never does anybody come to us and say, man, we are beating the bad guys. The bad guys are always ahead of us. And we are just going to play catch up, and that's just a fact. That's just going to happen. So how many of you got a headache so far? Let me recap, right? I talk of desktop computing. I talk of networking. I talk of cloud. I talked of mobility. I talked of artificial intelligence. I talked of blockchain. I'm talking about IoT devices, smart city. Anyone got a headache yet? No? All right, let me give you a headache. Let's talk about hacking the human brain. How many of you think this is crazy? You cannot hack the human brain. Okay, nobody. How many of you think is a good idea? You know something? I was called to give a keynote talk in China. It's a true story. And I said, okay, how many of you like this idea? Raise your hands. Nobody raised their hands. I said, okay, how many of you don't like the idea? Raise your hands. No one raised their hands. 5 minutes later, the interpreter comes to me and says, you're in the wrong room. They all speak Mandarin. So I'm pretty sure that's not the case here, right? So hacking the human brain, folks, you guys know this guy, right? Elon Musk, the guy that is behind the Tesla, SpaceX. So he's got a new idea. See, Elon is of the opinion that with artificial intelligence, we, the human beings, will be reduced to nothing. Artificial intelligence can take over humanity. That's his view. So what he did was he backed a project called Neuralink. Very interesting idea. Now, generally, the human brain has got two parts to it. We have the limbic system, and we have the cortex. One of them deals with emotions, right? So, for example, I like Faisal very much. Emotions. But the cortex will tell me the deep rationale behind it. Oh, he ran a beautiful conference, amazing professionalism, and now you put these two things together and say, I like the guy. So the two parts of the brain. What he wants to do is basically inject a little bendable equipment into the brain and connect the left island with the right island. All right? How many of you are looking forward to it? Right? No? Anybody wants to give their brain? Okay. Don't bother, right? So they're doing this with mice. And he released a statement about a week ago that they're very, very close to launching this. So now just think about it, right? I mean, when I read this, I was like, oh my God. When can I retire? Because I don't want to deal with, dealing with this. But think about the good uses for it, right? His entire idea, believe it or not, was because of this. Because right now, I'm thinking, all right? So I want to send a text to Faisal and say, hey, Faisal, thank you very much for inviting me for this event. I really enjoy the company. I appreciate your hospitality. And I click send, right? With this chip, left and right, the two layers are going to be connected. Now I don't have to type anymore. Because the IoT device is going to connect with the device in my head, and I'm going to say, hey, Mutlim, fantastic, man. Your speech is really great. You're an amazing CEO. Send. And I just sent it. Think of the value. I could come to this conference. I was thinking about it this morning. The value is you could invite me here to speak. I could stand here for an hour and not say a word and send my speech to your brains and then just walk out. I know. That's the cue, guys, to say quick and end it, right? That's the cue. We're tired. Jay, come on, get on with it, right? So next generation attacks. This is what we're going to be dealing with. But there was another industrial benefit out of what it's trying to do, which I really enjoyed. Think about it, right? Assuming that you have a poor memory. I meet Mutleb after 6 months. Comes to me and says, Jay, how are you doing, man? I look at him and I says, I don't know you. What do you mean you don't know me? You just met me in the kingdom and you were the keynote speaker. I was the CEO. Saudi Federation. Remember me? Hang on a second. I'll take out my hard disk, connect it to my brain, access the additional memory that I have. I say, oh yeah, hi, how are you doing? The actual use, guys, I'm not joking, the actual use was to use this entire technology for people that have poor memory. Because now, your brain will be connected to the computing power, right? So the idea, the whole concept is that if artificial intelligence tries to take on humanity, with the connection of your brain to computing power, the humans will always be one step forward. But think about something. Who is going to protect these devices? Right? Can you imagine if we could hack an entire population of people that actually have Neuralink in their head? It's a serious problem. So this is the next generation. So then what's the solution? Solution is just go home and sleep, man. There's no solution. No, I'm just kidding. The solution is we need to hack the next generation. We got to predict what the next generation is going to be dealing with, and we got to ensure that we prepare them. So 20 years ago, we coined this statement, to beat a hacker, think like a hacker. This has been the EC Council statement forever, right? And what we started doing was teaching the good guys what the bad guys did so that they can defend the organization. Well, guess what? This statement has not changed. We will just have to enhance it better. So I wanted to share with you one single profession within the cybersecurity world, penetration testing, because I know that most of you know what's a pen test, right? I want to tell you the problem. I want to tell you an actual journey of EC Council in trying to solve this problem, and then you will understand the work that we have ahead of us. So pen testing, as you all know, right, is a skill that we use to test the strength of a system. We try to find vulnerabilities. We try to exploit them. The problem is, this is the hard fact, most pen testers will not admit this openly. The truth is, pen testing has become a commodity. Everyone does pen tests today. 20 years ago, when you say pen testing, people say, oh, yeah, I'm a pen tester. Wow, you're unique. Now, everyone's a pen tester. And the problem that the organizations are facing is, how do I determine who's a better pen tester? How do I know between two people who's better? So there are countries that are actually trying to regulate. They're trying to license. So pen testing will become a licensure, like what you're doing, seeing with doctors, lawyers, accountants. You're going to get a license to be a pen tester so that bogus pen testers that scan a network and provide an automated report cannot pass through as pen testers and get you to pay a lot of money. So the problem of the industry was that there were a lot of prima donnas in pen testing. There are a lot of great guys that do amazing work, but there are a lot of prima donnas too. And these prima donnas are basically people that are after shiny objects. And what they do is, when you provide them with a project to do a penetration test, what they want to do is they want to just hack you as quickly as they can without following a proper methodology, because they think that as they start capturing a lot of your information, the objective is met. Now, the problem is, that's not pen testing, right? And there has to be methodology. A pen tester will have to think of methodology, have to think of local laws, will have to think about licensure, will have to think about access. There's so many things. So we said there's so much of work in gamification. Everyone is doing capture the flag. Everyone thinks this is the best way. Because remember the core. We're trying to solve the problem. We believe in pen testing, we need to get people that can do the job. And how do we do that? So we looked at gamification. But gamification has a couple of problems. Problem number one is when you do a capture the flag, it doesn't matter which one, it's a game. There's a start, there's an end. They have to be completed. But in a real-life pen test, there isn't a specific time to say that I'll give you 2 days and you do this and you're done. Sometimes you will need to think out of the box, right? I mean, you look at Kevin's talk, everything that he talked about is doing things out of the box. He didn't do anything conventional, right? And this is a real-life scenario. Second is time. In a game, you have a start time, you have an end time. But in a pen test, we're not chasing time. We're not saying that if you finished it in 20 minutes, you're better than me who took 40 minutes. We're thinking about someone who can go through thoroughly. And third, the beautiful humans. In a game, you don't get a disruption of humans coming in and doing things in the ordinary course of the day that disrupts the work. But in a real-life pen test, common people cause a lot of problems to pen testers. This is a common problem in gamification. So the question is, how do we build a skilled workforce? And what we did was we looked at the military because, excuse me, this problem has already been settled in the sniper school. And if you look at the way snipers are built, they are built with knowledge, skill, and ability. This is an actual Easy Council case study. So we said, okay, knowledge, what's knowledge? Well, I'm going to teach you this is a clicker. This is how it looks. This is the function. It has got a power. And then you understand what it is. So in a sniper world, when you look at a gun, they're going to tell you this is a gun, this is a sniper tool, this is a kind of bullet, this is a kind of range. They're going to, okay, I understand what it is. That's knowledge. So what's a skill then? Well, a skill is being able to take the gun, going to a shooting range and being able to shoot it and hit bullseye. That's a skill. Well, then what's ability? Well, ability is being able to take a gun, knowing where to put the bullet, knowing how to load it, knowing how to shoot, hitting bullseye while you are being shot at. Because it's reflex action. Knowledge, skill, ability. So we said at EC Council, all right, let's build an entire mapping where we provide knowledge, skill, ability, and those of you know CH, that's our knowledge, ECSA is this, and LPT. It doesn't matter, right? So it's not an EC Council commercial. But what is the problem? So we went to our customers. We said, guys, everyone's saying we have shortage of cybersecurity professionals, we want pen testers, thousands of people that we're looking for. What's your real problem? And they said, well, we have 4 problems. Problem number 1, EC Council, is we want good pen testers. Everybody wants good pen testers. Remember, guys, pen testing is only one of the many professions. We want good, okay? Fair enough. Number 2, we want to retain them, because when we hire a good guy or girl, within 3 months, somebody else pays them 30, 40, 50% and hire them. And we lose this person. So retention is a serious problem for us. We're like, okay, fair enough. What's the third problem? Scalability. When you get me 1 good person, I want 100 yesterday. Can you give me 100 yesterday? Right? And we're like, okay. And what's the fourth? Trust. How do we trust that this person that has this paper, even if it says EC Council, actually can do the job? And we go like, okay, fair enough. We understand. We went back and we realized that the 4 things we needed. We needed to build an exam. Number 1 was hands-on, because they wanted to make sure people can do the actual work. It mimicked actual real-world case study. We wanted to make sure it had a methodology so that they're following the right processes. We wanted to make sure that pen testers in this skill, in this actual job, one of the jobs of pen testers, which is what they frown about, is writing the report. Hacking is the easy part. Writing the report is the painful part. We want to make sure we tested them with that as well. So we went to our engineering team. This is a real-life case study, and you'll be shocked at the end. And we said, go build an exam. Number 1, it cannot be a non-stop exam. You can't do it 24 hours. You know why? In a real life, a pen tester doesn't do 24 hours. They go back, they have a wife, they have kids. It has to mimic a real life. Number 2, you got to make sure that this exam is delivered online. They cannot come, because scalability. Organizations want to build 1,000. We can't tell 1,000 people, please come to Riyadh, go to the Saudi Federation, take an exam. Not possible. Has to be delivered over the cloud. Number 3, this exam cannot be unproctored, because trust was a very important matter. It has to be proctored. Now, there's a problem, because a pen testing is not done over 1 hour or 2 hours. Pen testing is a lengthy, complicated process, right? But you got to make sure that you are going to proctor this person so that we can establish trust that this human being that took this exam, was watched throughout the exam, actually did the actual work of pen testing, delivered the report, passed. We guarantee this person can do the job. And number 4, it must not be minimally challenging. We got to make it superbly difficult so we can get the best. We made sure that we mimic the actual scenarios of the world, and we built the first of its kind, the LPT Master. And we launched here. We at EC Council were having a gala time. We said, wow, we built it. Why? I'll tell you why. We came up with an 18-hour exam. Remember, this talk is about the next generation, right? How do we build next generation? Let me show you an actual next generation cert that we built, we thought was great, and what actually happened, right? So we built this exam, and we said 18-hour exam, 6 hours each. Looks like a regular pen tester's, dose. So we let you sleep. You do 6 hours, you go back. Excuse me. 18 hours. Number 2, 3 stages. Stage 1, you got to do web application exploitation. And if you're able to get any one of the 3 challenges we have got, you qualify to stage 2. In stage 2, we want to do network level exploitation. If you're able to get out of 3 challenges, just one, just one, you move on to the last and final, where you have to do an OS, operating system level exploitation. And you just need 1 more to qualify. Total of 9 challenges, you have 5, you earn the credential. And we thought we solved the problem. That's it. Now we can go to companies, be able to weed out the best pen testers and provide it to them. You know what happened? When we said 18-hour exam, and when we said it's proctored, so to get proctored, what we had to do? We had to hire an entire team in the US and our offices elsewhere, 24/7. And when you come in and say, I want to do a pen test, they actually register you in. They say, sir, can you switch on the camera? Sir, can I please see your passport or your identification? We identifies you. All right, let me give you a long list of rules. This is a 6-hour exam. You'll be allowed 1 toilet break. Toilet break is 15 minutes. If your camera comes down, internet comes down, you're gone. Da, 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 da. And when we did this, we thought that everyone would love it. You know what was the pass rate? People that were challenging these exams already had multiple certifications prior to this. Hands-on certifications. Can anyone guess, out of 100 people, how many will get through this exam? Looks quite simple, right? I mean, web application, network OS, not complex stuff. Any guesses? I'm sorry? 30? 20%. All right, 20% going once. Any bidder? 33%. Statistician. The actual number, yes? I'm sorry, all fail. All of them passed. If all of them pass, boss, I will not be invited because EC Council would have collapsed, become bankrupt. I would have applied for a job with Zev, who has a similar problem like me. So cannot happen. You are an ISO 17024 organization, right? So no. The average process takes 45 days, is what we give them. 3-stage, we thought we solved the problem, companies will love it, and then we realized the actual pass rate was 9%. Out of 100 professional penetration testers, these are people that do pen testing for a living. These are people with 5 to 8 years experience. I'm not talking about 17-year-old kids that are out there trying to take this exam. 9 out of 100 will actually get the credential. 100% proctored, no chance of cheating. If you claim you can do it, you do it. So after this, sales teams came back and said, Jay, this is going to be a problem because nobody's going to like to take an exam where they know that 92%, 91% chance you're going to fail, right? And because nobody wants to go to a boss and say, boss, I took this exam, but I failed, right? Nobody wants that. You get fired probably, oh my God, what am I paying you for if you can't get through this exam? This is the actual problem. So the next generation, so what can we do? Well, if you increase the level of rigor, you're going to come up with this result. So be prepared. Be prepared. Out of 100, you probably have 10% will get through. But this will be the cream. But even in the milk, when you build a cheese, the cheese is a small part, right? You're not going to be able to have 100% through. Otherwise, there are no standards. So what can you do? 5 more minutes, guys. Well, what you can do is a couple of things. Number 1, in your organization, have a skills mapping. Have jobs that you want, and figure out which job requires what skill in your organization, because not everyone was built equal. Number 2, think about knowledge, skill, ability. Not everybody needs to be having the ability where you can shoot while being shot at. Some jobs require just knowledge, right? So some jobs will require skill. For example, if you're in a SOC, you're a SOC analyst, skill will do, right? But if you are a a junior person in your organization, knowledge will do. If you are senior most, you're actually doing a pen test, nothing will do but an ability. So determine what's a knowledge, what's a skill, what's an ability, job, role in your organization. Make sure it's been mapped to skill map. Make sure you understand that gamification is not a be-all and all. One important factor, when you recognize certifications, look guys, I could go back to Kuala Lumpur, right, create a company called Bavisi & Co. and sell you a cert. 50 questions, 30 questions, and you get a cert, right? I could create a practical exam. Ensure you insist on an ISO 17124 standard. It's a ISO standard, it's a NC-ISO standard. It puts certification bodies through an enormous amount of rigor. You get statisticians, you get learning experts, you get psychometricians. We do all sorts of tabling to ensure that the exam has the sanctity and the integrity that's required. Ensure that you insist on this. I'm not saying Easy Council. You can pick any organization. I don't care. But it has to be an ISO 17124. That's a core requirement. And lastly, ensure that whatever you get is customized to your need. If you do not need a blue jacket, don't buy it. Don't buy it because everyone says it's great. Make sure that this is something that your organization needs, because otherwise you're not going to be able to build a next generation of cybersecurity professionals that are going to be able to deal with the kind of attacks that I talked about. We're already talking about hacking the human brain, folks, so you need to get some real technical people that are able to do that. With that, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking in your beautiful kingdom, and have a wonderful night. Thank you.